He was handsome, he was charming, he was a monster. A.D.H. Holmes, born Herman Webster Mudgett, was a figure shrouded in darkness, forever etched in history as America's first serial killer. His crimes, committed at the height of the 1893 Chicago World's Fair, shocked a nation and laid bare the depths of human depravity. But what drove Holmes to commit such unspeakable acts? What lurked beneath his charismatic facade? This essay delves into the life and crimes of A.H. Holmes, attempting to unravel the enigma of his murderous mind. *** warning. This essay contains details about H.H. Holmes's crimes that some readers may find disturbing. Born in 1861 in New Hampshire, Herman Webster Mudgett, who would later be known as H.H. Holmes, entered the world in a time of great change and uncertainty. The Civil War was just around the corner, and the nation was on the brink of transformation. His birthplace, a small town in New Hampshire, was a typical New England community steeped in tradition and conservative values. Holmes's early life was marked by unsettling incidents. From a young age, he exhibited behaviors that were far from ordinary. Neighbors and family members recalled a boy who was both charming and unnervingly detached. His interactions with other children were often fraught with tension, and he seemed to derive a peculiar satisfaction from their discomfort. Accounts suggest a fascination with death, starting with the alleged killing of birds as a child. This morbid curiosity extended beyond mere childhood mischief. Holmes would often be found dissecting small animals, a practice that he claimed was driven by a scientific interest, but which many found deeply disturbing. Some biographers point to a tumultuous family life and possible abuse as contributing factors to his psychological development. His father, a strict disciplinarian, was known for his harsh punishments, while his mother was described as cold and distant. This environment of emotional neglect and physical discipline may have played a significant role in shaping Holmes's complex personality. Holmes was reportedly intelligent but prone to deceit, even in his youth. His teachers noted his quick wit and sharp mind, but also his tendency to lie and manipulate situations to his advantage. This duality of brilliance and deceit would become a hallmark of his later life, allowing him to navigate the world with a dangerous blend of charm and cunning. He developed a penchant for con artistry, foreshadowing the manipulation and cunning that would characterize his later crimes. As a teenager, Holmes was involved in various schemes, from petty theft to more elaborate frauds. These early exploits were a training ground for the more sinister activities he would later undertake. This section will explore Holmes's formative years, searching for glimpses of the monster he would become. By examining his childhood and adolescence, we can begin to understand the factors that may have contributed to his descent into darkness. Was it a combination of inherent traits and environmental influences, or was there something more sinister at play? While concrete evidence remains elusive, these early experiences offer a glimpse into the possible formation of a disturbed psyche. The patterns of behavior that emerged during his youth provide clues to the complex and often contradictory nature of his character. His ability to mask his true intentions behind a veneer of normalcy made him all the more dangerous. Did these events plant the seeds of darkness that would later blossom into murderous intent? The question lingers, inviting us to delve deeper into the mind of a man who would become one of America's most infamous serial killers. The interplay between his early experiences and his later actions suggests a chilling connection between the two. The question continues to fascinate and horrify, blurring the lines between nature and nurture in the creation of a monster. As we explore the psychological and environmental factors that may have influenced Holmes, we are confronted with the unsettling possibility that such darkness can emerge from seemingly ordinary beginnings. The study of his life offers a cautionary tale about the potential for evil that lies within us all.
While concrete evidence remains elusive, the stories and accounts from those who knew Holmes paint a picture of a deeply troubled individual. His early fascination with death and his manipulative tendencies were warning signs that went largely unnoticed or unaddressed by those around him. These early experiences offer a glimpse into the possible formation of a disturbed psyche. The combination of a harsh upbringing, a fascination with the macabre, and a natural inclination towards deceit created a perfect storm for the development of a dangerous individual. Did these events plant the seeds of darkness that would later blossom into murderous intent? The evidence suggests that Holmes's early life was a crucible in which his darker tendencies were forged and honed. The transition from a troubled child to a calculating killer was a gradual process, marked by a series of increasingly bold and violent acts. The question continues to fascinate and horrify, blurring the lines between nature and nurture in the creation of a monster. As we delve deeper into the life of H. Holmes, we are reminded of the complex interplay between genetic predisposition and environmental influence. His story serves as a grim reminder of the potential for darkness that exists within the human soul, and the thin veneer of civilization that separates us from our baser instincts.
The apex of Holmes's depravity was his infamous murder castle, a macabre structure he built in Chicago. This was no ordinary building. It was a house of horrors meticulously designed to fulfill his darkest desires. The castle stood as a grim monument to his twisted genius, a place where the line between life and death was blurred by his malevolent intentions. This building was a labyrinth of hidden rooms, secret passages, and gruesome contraptions designed for torture and murder. Each corner of the castle was a potential death trap, with rooms that could be sealed off, staircases that led nowhere, and doors that opened to brick walls. Holmes's architectural monstrosity was a physical manifestation of his chaotic mind, a place where he could exercise his control over life and death. Holmes lured his victims, many of whom were young women, to their deaths within this house of horrors. He often posed as a charming and successful businessman, offering employment or lodging to unsuspecting individuals. Once inside, these victims found themselves ensnared in a deadly game with no way out. The castle's design ensured that their screams would never be heard, their struggles never seen. He preyed on their vulnerabilities, exploiting their trust for his own twisted pleasure. Holmes was a master manipulator, using his charm and intelligence to gain the confidence of his victims. He would then subject them to unimaginable horrors, taking perverse delight in their suffering. His ability to mask his true nature allowed him to continue his reign of terror undetected for years.
The details of his crimes, many of which were meticulously documented by Holmes himself, are chilling. He kept detailed records of his victims, their fates, and the methods he used to end their lives. These documents provide a horrifying glimpse into the mind of a man who saw murder as a form of art, each act a carefully planned and executed masterpiece of cruelty. He gassed victims in soundproof chambers, ensuring that their final moments were filled with terror and confusion. These chambers were designed to be airtight, preventing any sound from escaping and alerting others to the horrors within. The victims, trapped and helpless, would succumb to the toxic fumes, their lives extinguished in silence. Dissected their bodies in his surgical theater, where he conducted gruesome experiments. This room, equipped with surgical tools and operating tables, was a place of unimaginable horror. Holmes would meticulously dissect his victims, studying their anatomy and using their bodies for his own twisted purposes. The surgical theater was a testament to his morbid curiosity and complete lack of empathy, and disposed of their remains through chutes leading to the basement. These chutes allowed him to quickly and efficiently get rid of the evidence of his crimes. The basement itself was a nightmarish place, filled with the remains of his victims and the tools of his trade. It was here that the full extent of his depravity was revealed, a grim reminder of the lives he had destroyed. The murder castle became a symbol of his depraved mind, a terrifying testament to the darkness that can lurk beneath the surface of normalcy. It stood as a chilling reminder of the evil that can hide behind a facade of respectability, a place where the boundaries of morality were shattered by one man's insatiable lust for power and control. The legacy of Holmes's murder castle continues to haunt the annals of criminal history, a stark warning of the horrors that can arise when humanity's darkest impulses are left unchecked.
Holmes's reign of terror, though expertly concealed for a time, could not last forever. Suspicions arose, whispers turned to accusations, and the once quiet murmurs of the townsfolk grew louder. People began to notice the strange disappearances and the odd behavior surrounding Holmes's activities. Eventually, the law caught up with him. The local authorities, initially baffled by the complexity of his schemes, started to piece together the puzzle. They began to see a pattern in the chaos, a method to his madness. His downfall began with a series of insurance scams which were meticulously planned but ultimately flawed. These scams were not just about money, they were a window into his audacious greed and his belief that he was untouchable. Holmes's greed knew no bounds. He forged documents, manipulated people, and created a labyrinth of deceit that he believed no one could unravel. But the cracks in his facade began to show. These investigations unearthed inconsistencies in his stories, discrepancies that could no longer be ignored. Detectives found themselves delving deeper into his past, uncovering more lies and deceit with each turn. Leading authorities to dig deeper into his past, they discovered a trail of fraud and murder that spanned years. Each new piece of evidence painted a darker picture of Holmes' true nature. The unraveling of his web of lies ultimately exposed the horrifying truth of his crimes. The sheer scale of his atrocities was almost beyond belief, and the nation was gripped by the unfolding horror.
The investigators, faced with the unprecedented scale and brutality of his crimes, employed innovative techniques for the time. They used forensic methods that were in their infancy, pushing the boundaries of criminal investigation. They meticulously pieced together his movements, analyzed his financial records, and interviewed countless witnesses. Each interview, each document, brought them closer to understanding the full extent of Holmes's evil. The discovery of the murder castle itself, with its grisly contents, sent shockwaves through the nation. The building, designed with hidden rooms and secret passages, was a physical manifestation of Holmes's twisted mind. The media frenzy that followed solidified Holmes's place in the annals of criminal history. His name became synonymous with terror, and his story a grim reminder of the depths of human depravity.